Living and Rest, God's Antidote to Struggling and Striving. Chapter 3, Separated and Sanctified. Anyone who indulges in sin lives in moral anarchy, for the definition of sin is breaking God's law. 1 John 3:4. We know that God's law is not merely the law of the Old Testament. It is the law of love as well, which is loving God and loving one another as you love yourself. John goes on from here to write some tough passages, yet they are delivered within the context of love. And you know without a doubt that Jesus was revealed to eradicate sins, and there is no sin in him. Anyone who continues to live in union with him will not sin. But the one who continues sinning hasn't seen him with discernment or known him by intimate experience. Delightfully loved children, don't let anyone divert you from this truth. The person who keeps doing what is right proves that he is righteous before God, even as the Messiah is righteous. But the one who indulges in a sinful life is of the devil, because the devil has been sinning from the beginning. The reason the Son of God was revealed was to undo and destroy the works of the devil. Everyone who is truly God's child will refuse to keep sinning because God's seed remains within him, and he is unable to continue sinning because he has been fathered by God himself. Here is how God's children can be clearly distinguished from the children of the evil one. Anyone who does not demonstrate righteousness and show love to fellow believers is not living with God as his source. 1 John 3:5-10. Make no mistake about it. This is not a works-based righteousness. It is righteousness lived out because of a connection to God. If we are attempting to earn favor with God by doing good things, we've missed the mark and fallen into works. Yet because we are sons and daughters of God, we have the power to live holy and a desire to cling to him while shedding sin. Too often, sin is preached as a thing to avoid without presenting Jesus as the one to run to. As a result, people are biting their lip, clenching their fists, trying to avoid sin. Yet the greatest means of avoiding sin is by clinging to the Son. Sin presents itself in our lives every day. We have the choice to choose it or refuse it. What you choose proves who you love. Do we wake up loving Jesus more than the world, or vice versa? It has to be one or the other. Things are binary in the kingdom of God. Christ himself said, "You cannot serve two masters. You will either surrender to one or the other." Surrender causes possession to take place. That which you surrender to is that which will possess you. And I can promise you, God is not going to share a room with the world in your heart. When he takes you, he takes all of you. When you come to Christ, you become the real estate of God. God himself is jealous for his property. Satan is evicted, and you are separated and sanctified from the life of sin you once lived. Why does God want our surrender? This verse in Hebrews explains it. He, Jesus, endured the cross for the joy that was set before him. Hebrews 12:2. What was the joy that was set before him? A better question is, who was the joy set before him? It was you and it was me. We are his reward. We are the ones whom he was after. When you and I surrender to him and him alone, he is joyfully claiming the reward of his sufferings. Even the Old Testament echoed these sentiments. We find in Deuteronomy, the Bible calls us God's own special prize. God has made many, many things, yet we are held in higher esteem than any other. This is because God made the earth, skies, stars, animals, and the planets because of his love. Yet we, as people, are the only thing that God has put his love in. Do you see the difference? God is love according to 1 John 4. We are made in his image, that image being love. We aren't in God's image because we have two arms and two legs. What makes us in God's image is our unique ability to receive God's love and reciprocate God's love. We have the choice to multiply this marvelous inheritance or squander this inheritance. If the outflow of our lives is love, we have done well. See, it's this great love that actually separates us and empowers holiness and right living. This love can only be received and reciprocated through healthy union with God in the secret place. It's really simple. We've got to act like a son or daughter of God if we say we are a son or daughter of God. I ran from the church for years because I saw people confessing that they were king's kids, but acting like hellions. They didn't carry the king's character. I understand these aren't easy things to talk about, but we've got to wrap our minds around the reality that our identity informs our living. If we don't see ourselves correctly, we will avoid union with Jesus. When we avoid union with Jesus, we are no longer separated from sin and sanctified by God, but we are separated from God and claimed by sin. In the next chapter, I want to explore this topic of holiness in a little more detail.